Dr. Maxim. This ain't funny, Doc.
Turn around. Slowly.
Do you know who I am? Yeah, we know. That's why you better do exactly what we say.
A great evil approaches. There is a chain of events that must be set in motion.
The future hangs by a thread. You must awaken the test subjects.
Richtofen! Whatever you're thinking of doing, don't do it!
You do not want to meet what's on the other side of that door.
You cannot begin to comprehend the great evil you could unleash.
Richtofen, I thought we were done with this!
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Brickmaker channel, and I'm bringing you a slightly different type of video today. This video is going to be focusing more not on beating the game of Fallout 4, because at this point I think we all know I can beat the game with the majority of these modded runs. No, today will just be a character run and telling it as a story. Now obviously we'll be beating the game of Fallout 4 no problem, that will be the main objective. But it will be mainly focused around the character, Dr. Richtofen. For anyone who isn't aware, Dr. Richtofen is a character from the Call of Duty Zombies franchise. The Black Ops one specifically, not the other kind of rubbish one. And I would say he's one of the crowd favourites of all four of the characters. And he's someone that I wanted to pick for a character run today, as I saw plenty of mods on the mod menu that, well, just offered up a very interesting run. I also implemented a bunch of other mods, and mainly America Rising 2, because this is what brings the Enclave into the game. Because as you've seen in the title, Dr. Richtofen has reached the Commonwealth and he has revived the Enclave. So, I hope you guys are comfortable, sitting down, relaxed, got a drink, maybe even some dinner. I hope you have a good amount of time free to sit down and enjoy the story of Richtofen reviving the Enclave and taking over the Commonwealth. And without any further ado, let's begin.
I cannot torture my minions without power. Dempsey, you go turn it on.
The story begins like all videos do, in the bathroom with all the steam flying around. I think I get him pretty damn close to how Dr. Richtofen looks, at least the younger version. I named the character Edward Richtofen and made sure I got his second name spelled correctly because it is a little bit difficult. And put all my stats into intelligence, endurance, perception and stuff like that. I make my way up to the bunker where there is this insane robot running around, I'm not sure why. Now at the time of making this video I was actually really confused, but it does turn out it was a mod that I'd added that did this. But luckily for us, even though he was on the platform, he doesn't seem to be in the vault with us, thank God. Once you learn who he was, you'll be very glad he didn't make it in with us. I get myself into the cryopod and go down for a nice little nap. And notice this crazy random woman who seems to live in my house get shot straight in the face. I'm sure that will really upset me later.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this.
But before I can get upset, there's one thing I gotta do, and that's get out of this goddamn pod.
mein Head. Where? When am I?
I've picked myself up a nice piece of new futuristic technology and give myself some glowing blue eyes just like in the moon map. With that final piece of the puzzle done, I can now enter into the Commonwealth and get started on my journey. First things first, head straight to Sanctuary and start getting all the mods that I've done put straight into this game. The very first mod you'll see on screen right now is getting myself the ray gun. As many of you will know, the ray gun is probably the most famous weapon from all of the Call of Duty zombie games. It's probably the only weapon that's been in every single zombies game.
Ah, the future's so dangerous.
And it requires no caps, no materials to build, and it gives you plenty of ammo. The next thing I'm building is the Browning light machine gun because, well, again, this is in the World at War, the original game. It's one of my favourite weapons to use from the Zombies franchise, and I didn't get a chance to use it in my World War II video, so now is finally my opportunity. And damn, it's a pretty good mod. The next place I'm heading off to is the little Fallout shelter underneath Sanctuary. One that's, well, an overpowered one, which I won't be using, and just a regular Mauser. I'm also able to find the Python revolver down here as well. The Mauser will turn into the Kar 98K, which is a German bolt action rifle from the original zombie games. It felt fitting that Richtofen be able to use it, and also the Colt Python, which is another weapon from Black Ops 2, which is a really nice pistol and another one of those mods that I found and thought, well, why not since it's here. With a small amount of weapons into my arsenal already, I'm going to start taking on the game, well, a little bit by little bit. I still want to get myself as many different weapons as I can, and I find a monkey bomb, being sold by Trashkit and Carla. Now the monkey bomb is a staple of the Call of Duty Zombie series. It's pretty much a distraction grenade that gets all the zombies to run away. It doesn't quite work like that in Fallout 4, but it's still pretty cool.
I find monkeys annoying. I spank them every chance I get.
I also throw in the Wasteland Surgeon outfit from one of the Capital City mods just because it looks somewhat like young Richtofen's outfit. Not too close, but somewhat close. And when I head over to the Drumlin Diner, I do, well, the devilishly evil thing of siding with Wolfgang and Simone because, well, I don't really do it. And Richtofen is kind of a bad guy at the end of the day. Heading back to Sanctuary, I run into that robot from before. It was Dirty Boy Fisto. This is one of those mods that I found downloaded in my mod menu and thought, why not?
I do like the sound of this one. It tickles my special place.
Nothing to do with Richtofen, just for my own personal pleasure. Thank God he didn't get into the vault with us. Or maybe I should have wished he was in the vault. That would have probably made it a lot funner. The next mod I found was for the PTRS, which was a heavy sniper that was only ever used in the World at War games. But for Fallout 4, Jesus Christ, is it a lot of fun. One of my favourites. And for the time being, I have my full array of weapons more or less ready. Kar 98, Browning light machine gun. I also added in the M1 Garand mod because, well, why not? I don't actually end up using the weapon much. Got the Colt Python. Also got my PTRS, which, as I said before, probably turns into one of my favourite mods I've ever downloaded. And with that, I head right over to the Vault 11 government facility. Similar to Deriz, this government facility has been abandoned and it's full of raiders. And I'm here to save my future employers. Or employees by the time I'm done with them. A little bit of a hiccup aside, I do eventually battle my way through all the different raiders and getting a great chance to show off these new weapons, and I access myself into the vault and find all my fun frozen popsicle people looking like how I did about 10 minutes ago. With them all released, I can finally get to getting chatting and seeing how we're going to solve this problem of the Commonwealth and how we're going to put it to right. First things first, they give me the orders to head over to one of the communications arrays and get their communications ready and set up. I somehow run into Captain Peterson while I'm running towards Concord, and eventually arrive in Lexington. It's here that I just want to show off just how powerful some of these weapons are. And luckily the ray gun doesn't have any explosive damage, so I don't end up blowing my legs off every 10 minutes. Now before we can go any further, there is one small side quest I've got to get done, and it involves helping the Brotherhood. No, the Brotherhood won't be a regular friend of this, I just needed to pick up the junk jet. After I've gotten the junk jet, I start moving towards Diamond City so I can find one of the most guaranteed spots for a missile launcher. The reason I'm doing this is because you need a junk jet and a missile launcher to build the Thunder Gun. For anyone who doesn't know, it's one of the big special rare weapons that you can get in a lot of the different zombie maps. And it's probably the best wonder weapon out of any of the games.
If I had designed this, it would have sucked and not blown.
It's simply fire, it shoots a huge bit of wind, and in the zombies games it wipes out every zombie in front of you. In this game it acts more like a missile launcher. But goddamn if it isn't fun and powerful. It even does have the blowback feature, which is just, oh, chef's kiss. That is what I love about these runs, is that it gives me a reason to sit down on that mod menu and just search whatever I can think of and see what I can find. When I enter into Diamond City, I'm also able to pick up the Colt 1911, which is the regular starting pistol for the majority of the games. I also pick up a China Lake, which, again, I wasn't a mod I expected to find, but it was a weapon that you can find in Black Ops 1, I think Black Ops 2 as well, and, well, why not? I then find this wanted poster. This is saying that there's a new games area set up. All I got to do is clear out a few raiders and I'll be allowed to play a new fun game. These are called RadiGhoul games, and what it is a Call of Duty Zombies simulator more or less. Craven lets us know there's points, there's weapons on the wall, and you've got to survive 50 rounds. You start with nothing except your fists. You build up points to open doors, buy weapons and upgrade them. Well, I think there's only one way to introduce ourselves to this.
I will blow off only their wee little bits first.
This is fantastic. It's a really well made mod. Like I said before, they throw you down to this little pit. You've got no weapons, no nothing, just points. And you use those points to buy weapons, ammo, healing supplies, because your health doesn't change, you still have the 1 health bar. And you start opening doors to unlock the map. I did try my best at the beginning to only use weapons from this mod that you could find in a different kind of Call of Duty game, but by the end of it I really didn't have much choice. I kind of just had to use what was available. And one of the first things I did notice though was that it has its own pack-a-punch machine. I mean, that is just, that's phenomenal. I mean, credit where credit's due. The RadiGhoul mod, that's what it's called, RadiGhoul. And I am blown away by it. It's on the mod menu if you load in, if you're using, I use a Steam Deck, so when I click mod on the Fallout 4 starting page, it's there. And yeah, I cannot praise it anymore. It's just really well made. At this point I was starting to kind of get to grips with how this works. There is workbenches, there's water fountains to get some health. There's not an Easter egg. I actually thought for a second it was an Easter egg, but it's just a slight convoluted way of making the power. You gotta turn the power on by turning on pylons. I mean, the only big issue I hated was the rads, but you do get radaway on the wall. It even does have its own little Easter egg, 5 different rabbits that you've got to find. Something I started figuring out pretty quick is that if you try and shoot them in the belly, I mean the zombies just do not go down. But if you shoot them in the head, they go down pretty easily. It also has its little boss waves, kind of like its hellhounds or its monkey rounds. Instead though, you just get 1 or 2 special feral ghouls, this one being a glowing one. But similar to the regular zombies, they are extremely weak if you shoot them in the head. So once I got to grips with that, it was pretty simple what the routine was going to be. Make sure you got weapons that shoot a lot of ammo. Make sure you're always aiming for the head. I do get the power on eventually. The only thing I've got to do now is initialize those pylons that we saw earlier. There's only 2. I've already found the 1. And I start trying out all the different weapons on the map. The Cryolator being one of my favourites because it shoots so many rounds so quickly. It's good, slows them down. And I do go back to pylon 1 and get it initialized so I can get the power going properly. Exploring more of the map, I'm able to find myself more or less the best weapon you can get, the minigun. Again, something that's actually somewhat related to zombies because you can get a death machine quite a lot. Even on Mob of the Dead you can get a minigun from the box. So this weapon feels somewhat realistic and I start getting a pretty good system with it. Which is just stand in the back of a room and just aim for the head. I eventually figure out to get the rest of the power on, I gotta access these keys, which remind you guys you need to have advanced lock picking to do that, so put stuff into lock picking, just a little word to the wise. And I find this little random room with an assault rifle, which reminds me of the bar room from Verrucht, which is just a nice, really nice little sweet touch. Little mini Easter egg for zombie fans out there. I eventually find the last pylon there. Notice the railway rifle, but it's not a quick weapon, so I don't see the point of picking it up. And with the second one finally initialized, I do have the mainframe booted up, and finally I can start accessing all the other things.
Power's on, and so is the doctor.
I also find more of the map to explore and run into a flamer. Now, headshots aren't just like more powerful. It's like anything touches their head, they'll evaporate. So flamers are just extremely overpowered. It also has its own little building system. You can build up turrets. I thought that was a really nice point. It's something to build towards, something to build up your own defenses kind of thing. And I kind of noticed that like quite quickly that only the laser one is pretty useful. But thanks to their shooting, I don't use as much ammo, so I can save up and buy more stim packs and radaway. I do, however, eventually get enough points so I can upgrade my very first weapon. And I obviously picked the flamer to upgrade first. And look at that! It changes the colour, changes the damage, gives it legendary effects. Fantastic. Chef's kiss. That's the best way to describe that feature right there. That is a chef's kiss of a feature right there. Beautiful. And it's a damn fine weapon as well. Now, it being 50 rounds, I'm not going to go through every round with you guys. I don't see the point. The only thing I'm going to come back for is showing you the upgraded weapons, like the 2x2 upgraded double barrel shotgun right there, which is now 4 shots and shoots fire rounds. And any special boss waves. Just, I don't want to waste too much time on it. I upgrade the minigun and it somehow eliminates the wind up feature, and I wish that this was a function in the base game because the minigun became, oh my god, without any sort of load up, this is by far the greatest weapon in this mod, in this game type, but also I would say probably in the whole game. I loved it. And then upgraded the assault rifle, became the lead packer, that was pretty good. And I decided to try and speed this up, that I would turn my little camp to the spot right next to the assault rifle because it's got a back, it's safe, I can build some turrets, and I've got easy access to ammunition. I will say now, 50 rounds is a bit much. I did find myself just probably after about round 30 being like, okay, I've just got to get to the end kind of thing. But still, fantastic mod, really loved it, so much fun to play. I finally reached round 41. And it's here where I am starting to, I don't even think I'm able to get through the door. Thank God the bodies don't clip into you because eventually I don't think I'd be able to see out of it. I upgrade the Ripper, upgrade the Cryolator, Cryolator, that's quite funny. I'm just showing these off for anyone who's curious if they want to know what the pack-a-punched look of the versions of these weapons are. Because I was very curious, I wanted to run around and see them all and how it does it. Upgrading the pistols now, the Magnum, definitely not a good weapon, shoots too slow, too hard to hit their heads. But the 10mm pistol is really good to upgrade because you got a lot of ammo, you can shoot it fast, aim for the face, really good. and I do eventually complete wave 50. The only thing left to do is to finish off the final boss wave, which they don't really make it that much more difficult. It's just now it's about 3 or 4 glowing one reavers, which if you're always aiming for the head, they're just kind of like regular zombies at that point. So I think if there was some advice or some notes I could give, it would be make the boss rounds a little bit harder. But with that, I have finally finished the RadiGhoul game. That was, again, fantastic. Chef's kiss, loved it. And I can head back, speak to Craven. Unfortunately, I can't keep any of the weapons I upgraded down there. But I get my own weapons back and, ooh, a little side quest. Now, Craven and this woman here, Trayson, are brother and sister. And Trayson thinks that Craven is up to no good and how he's getting all these ghouls and think he's doing something bad. So our job now is to quickly investigate what's going on. With that, we get sent right down into the basement of all the different ghoul games that you can play. And it's just filled with different glowing ones, feral ghouls. But luckily they're somewhat more normal. They're not just only aimed for the head ghouls. They are a little bit more... I can blow them up with my China Lake. I didn't have to crawl through this big old long pipe. And once I'm finished with all the different radiated water, I come out the other end. And I'm still on the hunt for Craven. So far, nothing nefarious. Well, nothing that we wouldn't do, to be honest. But we do eventually reach where Craven is sitting. He's meeting with different Institute scientists from Section 9. Again, I didn't really explain it in the mod, or maybe I didn't notice it being explained. But we learn the sick truth of how Craven is getting all these different ghouls. He's taking just normal settlers and exposing them to a glowing one that turns them into a ghoul. Oh no, he's so evil. My god, Richtofen is disgusted. How could you? Now, obviously Richtofen has very little issues with this, so I tell his sister that we're going to go chat with him before we do anything too hasty. The only thing we've got to do is battle our way through a couple of pretty basic sims and run into Craven. It's here that we confront him. Well, I say we confront him, I more or less just take his side and tell his sister to stop being, well, a bit of a Karen. With all the tension dissipated, we then get Trayson as a companion, well, an optional companion. I send her straight to Sanctuary, and we get to have a quick chat with Craven. And again, Richtofen, you know, we see eye to eye, so he thanks us by giving us a special combat shotgun called See No Evil, and we can get back to doing our main quest.
These pockets are so full. I expect my pants will just fall down at some point.
However, I do want to quickly run over to Eleanor so I can pick up the old FN FAL, which is another weapon that is accessible in Black Ops 1 for the Call of Duty zombie games, which is, I don't know, I think it's quite a fun weapon. Again, something I've used before and to be honest don't use very much in this gameplay, so I just thought I'd add it in. And on my way to Pursuit Station, I decided to wipe out Swan and start wiping out all the different triggermen. Now, I do want to make the point here that I won't be discussing the main quest that much. I don't think it's too important to the video itself. So we'll just be getting the cliff notes and I'll just be talking a little bit more about how I think this run is going to go. No, this won't be the Institute father, it's my actual son, oh no. No, this is just purely, I gotta get through these quests so I can get back to the Enclave kind of thing. So I'll be blitzing and blasting Kellogg, all those different sims, all the different things, as quickly as I possibly can. It's also here that I decided to take Dogmeat as a companion because, well, Fluffy, you know, a hellhound, why not? It's always nice having someone who can, well, carry a little bit more junk for you until you get back to your settlement. And I don't see the harm in it since, you know, it's the closest you can get, I suppose, to a companion for Edward Richtofen. After blowing up all the children of Atom, I do finally run into Virgil and make my way over to Green Tech so I can drag and pull a sim component right out of the courser's head. It is here though that I notice an issue with the Thunder Gun. It does sometimes knock the person that I need to find very far away and I'm unable to find them. But after a little bit of search and rescue, I eventually get my courser chip destroy the synth locked in this room because, I don't know, it felt evil, and run over to the railroad, and they trust me, let me in because of, well, wouldn't you trust me with my blue glowing eyes? And with the plans to build a single interceptor, I can now fully focus on going back to the Enclave questline. God damn it, we have a mission! And now that we have completed the zombies game, we have beaten all 50 rounds, and we've got a few little side quests done, we can get back to rebuilding the Enclave. Now the reason that I wanted to do the video with the Enclave is because none of the other factions just felt right. I mean, the Institute was probably the closest. You know, scientists, but they really are built in kind of like, no, we are the good guys. No, what we're doing is good. Whereas the Enclave is a bit more like, we are doing good, and we're doing good by killing you. Which, well, to me just felt a lot more Richtofen-y. But, to be honest, another big reason that I picked this one is because, well, I've played a lot of Fallout 4 recently, and I decided that to spice up the game a little bit more just for myself and for you guys, the viewers, that completing the America Rising 2 mod one more time, because the last time I did that was for the Fallout 4 as the Enclave, which was a very well received video, so I thought why not do it again, but just pick some different decisions. Anyway, my rambling to a side, I've cleared out the communications array, set that back up, and I'm now going to the vertebrate refueling facility, where the only enemies to clear are gunners, and there's absolutely no morality in wiping out the gunners. They deserve it, they absolutely deserve it, they're just raiders with fancy green uniforms. With them all wiped out, I report back to General Ward, and after sleeping for an entire day, I am able to jump on the vertebrate and get myself off to the oil rig. Now this is where the mod really does start ramping up and takes a huge deviation from the main game of Fallout 4. Pretty much from this point on, you can fully isolate yourself away from any sort of Fallout 4 vanilla game storyline. You can fully just put yourself into this one. And the oil rig's also great because it feels like home. I'm up here wiping out ghouls just like any other different maps. I'm starting to feel like I'm a bit more on Ascension again. Now once we start clearing out the ghouls, we meet up with Colonel Whitehall, who is, well, would you believe it, wants us to hit some which, would you believe it, the mission she's got for us, hit some terminals and get the power on. I mean, it just feels like home, doesn't it, guys? After hitting up all those terminals, I head over back to the central command of the oil rig and wipe out the last of the ghouls here, and head into the reactor room so I can get some of the different parts put back into the reactor and get this show on the road. I accidentally put a dampening coil on the ground floor, which is, ain't I a silly Billy, I blew up the entire oil rig. But one quick reload later and I'm back in business, and well, sorry Assaultron, didn't mean nothing by it. And with the oil rig fully operational, General Ward finally lets us know that they are the Enclave and invites us to join. I mean, an entire society, off-branch from the government, testing on people, developing weapons. I mean, it's just Group 935 with an American flag on it at the end of the day. And you know what? If dog meat ain't upset by it, then I ain't upset by it. I mean, someone should sew that into a pillow. If dog meat don't mind, then why should you? With that Socrates level philosophy out of the way, we eventually reach this big old ship, the USS Harper, where it was, well, trying to run away from the Enclave while it was under attack. A bunch of cowards, may I ask, and we've got to retrieve it so we can get all the supplies back. Now they want us to save their lives, but we know that they are traitors, so there's only one way to handle this, and that is to blow them all away with the thunder gun. With that, we pick up the USN Harper FOB, and for some reason they were unable to use it to maneuver this ship. They just decided to stay stranded. But we are smart and we let the ship float itself back to the oil rig, giving us a monument of supplies ready to rebuild our entire faction. Dr. Richtofen is a hard-working man. It is his whole goal to rebuild this faction, to wipe out all of the Commonwealth and eventually the world. So the only thing that we've got to do now is to get the right people. You know, recruitment, HR. That's what Richtofen's strong at. If there's one thing this old evil German scientist is good at, it's, well, being a people person. And getting around and interviewing people for different roles. You know, sometimes it's not all about guns a-blazing and rah-rah and, you know, the beauty of the fight. Sometimes it's just some good old hard working office work. And damn it, that's what's going to rebuild this place beautifully. We reach an underground bunker where we find Chief Engineer Myers, who is just the right person who's going to he just knows this oil rig like the back of his hand. And with him finally on board, we can head back and meet up with General Ward, as he's got more tasks for us. I did try and remind him that I am a doctor, not a diplomat, but he does send me off to the Atlantic offices, which usually would be fully hostile to you, but this mod allows them to become neutral, and also allows us to recruit them and get some information off of them, building up our network and creating a stronger Enclave. Now, with myself being fully integrated now into the Enclave and getting them on their feet, I am now given a nice new jacket. And with that nice new jacket, I decided to use a cheat terminal and get myself a nice new hat. Before, I may have looked like young Richtofen, but now I'm starting to look like old Richtofen. And for anyone who knows the story of Call of Duty Zombies, old Richtofen's the evil one. After I got my new friends and General Ward had a somewhat personal phone call that we all got to listen to, I can finally take a moment and just really appreciate how far we've come. Now, despite my PhD being in doctoring, I faintly believe that my PhD is in engineering, so they send me down to the bowels of the oil rig to get this place up and running even more. They get me to flip some power switches, which at this point I'm a goddamn expert in, and patch up a couple holes that were on some random pipes. With that, Myers could not be happier with our work, and we get a chance to go speak to the only other doctor on the ship, Dr. Kane. Now, she has just the perfect quests for us. Oh, I could not be happier with what she's asked us to do. She wants us to head to some different locations and pick up a bunch of different, well, initially just some different equipment to help her get her shop up and running. I start showing them the true power of the Car 98K and start wiping out raiders when they can't even see me. This old military underground bunker is housed to a couple of different bits of equipment, but most importantly the FEV virus. Getting something that we can use to experiment on living creatures, you're damn right. And when we get down here, we also find the Brotherhood of Steel set up. But luckily for us, I decided to take the diplomatic route and let them leave because I've already cleared out all the raiders. Again, diplomacy won't always be the way forward. There will be times where we're just going to go guns a-blazing, but for now we are not that powerful as a faction, so we're going to take the safe route. I do eventually get some backup sent towards me, and luckily it is in the nick of time because we have an entire nest of super mutants that we've got to blast our way through. Because there ain't no way that I am leaving this place without my FEV2 sample. And the reason I had a pause in between there is because I tried to say that about 10 times. This place is pretty difficult actually to battle your way through if you're doing a regular playthrough. But luckily for me, I have the Thunder Gun. And the epic behemoth has, it is like kicking a person down when they cannot stand up. The poor thing can't even get close, can't even throw a rock. I have never felt so goddamn powerful. And with that, I eventually do find FEV2 sample. And I can take that straight back to Dr. Kane so she can get her way to start experimenting. But before she can do that, well, she's going to need some test subjects, isn't she? Not just any. She's going to need a healthy human, an irradiated human, and an abomination creature. And surprise, surprise, there's only one person that she thinks is fit enough for the job to go out and not just get them, fully kidnap them. You do not want to be a potential suspect when Edward Richtofen is on the prowl. I lie through my teeth to get into Vault 81. I promise them the moon, and I absolutely give them the absolute diddle. I don't even get on the bridge. I've already got my victim set. And with my electronic stun baton, all I have to do is hit one residence, get them set up, send them back to the oil rig, and wipe out anyone who wasn't too happy about that. Luckily for me, the ray gun can do all of the work for me. And with Vault 81 well and truly attacked and pillaged, I find this random raider psycho just hanging around, which will count as my wasteland inhabitant. And I decided that if I'm going to get an abomination, I might as well go big. So I decided that I wanted to find myself a Deathclaw. I mean, we have to discuss this security baton. I mean, what a weapon.
It goes up, it goes down. I must control myself.
With that, Dr. Kane could not be happier with those results. And in an effort to, well, protect the wasteland from me and my grubby little hands kidnapping everyone, they decide to send me over to good old Captain Peterson and send me off to start, well, attacking different bases so we can gain even more influence. Similar to a lot of the other things that we've been having to do, it's just a case of fighting our way through different types of raiders. However, these aren't just any regular raiders, these are from a different type of group. They're called Fury Company, and they're kind of similar to what the Gunners are. One of the big differences being though is that there is a lot of them, and it does take a good amount of time to fight my way through. Luckily, I just have unlimited ammunition at this point. We are here looking for some sort of key, and we do start noticing that when we search these bodies, they have sim components on them. It is then that we are faced with Vanessa. Similar to the old Elder Maxon and Samantha storyline, old General Ward's got a daughter. However, he thought she was gone, but she has somehow came back from the dead. Well, I'll just take a quick moment and explain what's actually going on as the brickmaker, not as Richtofen. The Institute found out that General Ward's biometric, his biology, opened a bunch of government facilities, so they remade his daughter. So I decide that in my fury, I am going to, accidentally become enemies with everyone. But I decide that I'm going to try and blow her head off as quick as possible. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, you cannot blow her head off as quick as possible, you have to do it later. So for now, we just have to make sure that we secure this base from the rest of the old Sims. I like this side story, kinda makes sense, you know, rebuild different humans with their DNA. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't have just remade General Ward. I mean, if they could have remade his daughter, they could have remade him, I'm not sure. But one thing we do know is that General Ward hasn't taken it well. And he heads back to his old house, where we have to figure out this little quest line, all these different notes, so we can get access to his old records. This is where General Ward finds out what's going on. That actually his wife and daughter did perish, and whoever that is wasn't her. We crack the code and open the safe, but we've already been beaten to it. Dogmeat's just as furious and kicks a box at General Ward. And before we can even figure out what's going on, we are again attacked by Fury Company. However, this time we are a little bit luckier because we are able to take ourselves a nice little prisoner who's going to give us all the information that we need. It's here that we are actually brought down to, well, torture him. You ain't that in the base Fallout 4 anymore.
It's not exactly where I wanted to be, but at least I can find some comfort fiddling with my golden rod!
Maybe an older game, but god damn. It's pretty horrible actually. With all the torturing done, we then get to witness a beautiful moment where all the different Enclave remnants start converging on the oil rig, and it really makes us feel that what Richtofen has been doing has been making a difference. And I tell you someone else who's been appreciating my hard work. Good old Myers. Hey, I see you do, buddy. Now, what we have learned is that there are more Enclave out there, and there's even a senator. Dogmeat can't believe it. Dr. Kane arrives as well, and what we do is start formulating our future plan. Something that Colonel Whitehall's not too much of a believer in, doesn't quite trust Senator Matthews, but well, we'll put a pin in it for now because, well, I've got a doctor's appointment. I make sure my body's all good from all my time travelling. And finally get the quest, after how long, to finally build this signal interceptor. After it's built, I come back to the oil rig and, well, oh no, Mummy and Daddy are fighting. General Ward lets me know that there is nothing to worry about, and he's happy to hear that the signal interceptor is fully built. With that done, me and Myers, after having a little kiss, get the teleporter ready and send me straight off to the Institute. Now even here we are slightly getting ourselves back onto the guide rails, you know, back onto that Fallout 4 storyline, but the only thing we've really got to do is convince Fowler to let us in. Other than that, there's even a brand new quest down here in the Institute for us to complete. We've got to find this Institute scientist and have a conversation with him. And for some reason, he is carrying both all of the information about all the directors in here and the plans for the Beryllium Agitator. This guy, he's just carrying it all for some reason. We're also able to find a report on Fury Company and learn more about Vanessa. Again, it's just lying around. I suppose they wouldn't expect, but the fact that I'm here, you'd thought they would tidy up their secrets. And as of now, we are taking a small break from rebuilding the Enclave. This is more personal for General Ward. What we have to do is find Vanessa and, well, put her out of her misery. All the different beacons lead me to the Museum of Witchcraft, and I decide that I don't know, I wanted to wipe out the Deathclaw inside just to show dominance. And once I've done that, I get myself back on track and hunt down where Fury Company is hiding. And they've decided that they were going to hide in a fish packing plant. I mean, why not? And once you enter here, you run yourself into another courser, who gives vague threats that if we don't stop, he'll have to shoot us. But I'm not really buying it. I mean, I say that he actually does start shooting you, but I mean, did you really think? Did he think he had much of an opportunity there? Well, God bless him for trying, I'll say that much. Fury Company then send two whole soldiers to try and stop me. And that goes about as well as you would just expect it to go. I mean, I'm already heading my ass right down to the lobby and start fighting my way through, you know what, at this point, a pretty good amount of soldiers. Luckily for me though, anytime you play a Fallout 4 playthrough, you just gather stim packs. I don't think I've ever ran out of stim packs in a playthrough before. And I reach the final dungeon where we do run into Vanessa. You'll notice that she's currently standing on the stairs, but that is not where we find her body later. Yes, I somehow was able to shoot her all the way to the top, and she is so blown away by it, she is unable to even stand. This is where we get the last of it. We figure out she's just a synth. She knows about the family, but she's got no emotional attachment to it. She was just used as a pawn to get herself and the Institute into different government facilities. With that, we head back, and General Ward has put the tragedy of his family being blown away again behind him. I mean, you gotta give him that. He's got a strong disposition, this guy. And they decide to send me off to start fighting the Brotherhood. Now what we have to do is wipe out another different police station. I think this police station's in the game normally, but they just use it for this, so we can set up an even bigger sphere of influence. Going back to the original goal, rebuilding the Enclave, we're doing a pretty damn good job. The oil rig is built, we've got a good amount of machinery behind us now, and we're starting to set up even more bases in the Commonwealth. All in all, pretty damn proud. With them all wiped out, we can set this place up as a small HQ and get a nice warm visit from General Ward. Now you'll never believe it, but General Ward has even more tasks for us, and none of it involves being a doctor, it just all involves being a soldier. This task sees us head over to Hallucinogen, where there's a device that they want that will help them spread certain types of gases. Now for anyone who isn't aware of this mod story, what we're doing right now is that Dr. Kane is working on the FEV2 virus, and General Warren Senator Matthews wants a way to spread it across the Commonwealth. Colonel Whitehill is not happy about this. She's not happy about it because it will fully destroy all people who have been affected by radiation. People like me and General Ward will be safe, but the rest of the Enclave won't. And just like this original task was, I wasn't just going to rebuild the Enclave just to see it get destroyed again. So instead, Richtofen decides that he's going to side with Colonel Whitehill and find a way to take out Senator Matthews and General Ward. Which will technically put me second in command, so hey. Now what happens when you come back to the oil rig is that you start getting these small clues to how you can do it. The big one being that you can swap out one of the chips inside their vertibirds, which will cause it to crash. Very reminiscent of Falloutnewvegas this. Very reminiscent. I like it. I like familiarity. It makes me feel safe, makes me feel warm. So what happens is I find this IFF, I swap them, I find an old faulty one and a new one, swap them around. Which means the engineers has put it into General Ward and Senator Matthews' vertibird, meaning that when it takes off, it's gonna have a few issues. Let's just take a moment and enjoy it together.
The explosion is intense. I cannot contain myself.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm second in command now. So let's celebrate this promotion with even more evil work. It's time to hit the mass fusion building, which this time doesn't just have one Simps or Brotherhood, it has both of them there ready for a fight. Now I do also want to take this moment here to discuss why I did sign with Colonel Whitehill. It was kind of mostly because I hadn't sided with her in my previous video, so I wanted to see where her questline took us. Because I do believe that actually infecting the entire Commonwealth with FEVs selfishly would be kind of what evil Richtofen would do. But if the goal is to rebuild it, then maybe he wouldn't. So, you know, yeah, it's a stretch, but leave a comment down below. What do you think? Which way, who would you have sided with if you were Richtofen? Would you have picked General Ward, or would you have took the Colonel? I'm genuinely not sure. But that's why these kind of videos are a lot of fun. They're not so, you know, straight. And speaking of not straight, Dirty Boy Fisto is back and he's trying to get into my area. But this time I will not assume the position. That's only for when Dempsey's around. And after wiping out the last of the sentry bots and all the assaultrons down here, I make my way back to the main lobby where the Simps and the Brotherhood are just blowing each other away in here. And with them safely taken up with my China Lake, I'm able to head back to the oil rig and give the agitator over to Myers. Don't go anywhere, Myers, I want to show you my beryllium agitator later. Now what a lot of these quests involve now is more or less completing a task and telling Whitehill about them. One big difference with siding with her here is that she tells Dr. Kane that even though all these FEV experiments are fantastic and great, I mean just look at how happy Dogmeat is about it, is that we no longer want to build a weapon that will spread it all out amongst the Commonwealth. Instead, we want to start making them for grenades. But before we can even discuss getting a grenade, one of our areas, one of our facilities is being attacked by the Brotherhood. So me and Lieutenant Fitzpatrick, who doesn't get much screen time in this mod, but he is one of the original guys from the Vault 111 facility, we fly off back to this government place and start fighting the mountain of Brotherhood and power armor soldiers that are here. I mean, if I wasn't wearing my massive armored jacket and had this thunder gun, this would be a tough fight. They send tons of vertibirds. But luckily my thunder gun has the range to take them out. And for some reason though, the vertibird does this really strange glitch. When you wipe out one of the vertibirds with it, for some reason they just start flying into the ground and glitching into the, I don't know. Very interesting, very funny, very weird. I mean, it happens about Not every time, sometimes you can get them to spin out and crash properly. But for those rare occasions, it just for some reason doesn't do that. Once I've protected this area with, well, to be honest, relative ease thanks to the thunder gun, I head back and tell Whithill all about it, all the great things. Oh, she's so proud. And it's here where we finally take the fight straight to the Brotherhood. Not onto the Pridwin, which you usually do. No, Dogmeat, we're not going to the Pridwin. We're not going to the Pridwin, Dogmeat. No, we get to go to another new area. An area where the Brotherhood has found a nuke, like a missile, and they were going to fire it at the oil rig. Isn't that just a bit mental? They were just going to nuke us out of nowhere. Well, if you scratch my back, I'll goddamn scratch yours. And with this revelation, they send me and, well, 2 or 3 Enclave soldiers, but realistically they only need me to wipe out all the different soldiers down here and gain control of that rocket. I batter my way into Gamma Site, fight my way up the stairs where we start running into a couple of the named Brotherhood guys. Elder Maxon's in there, so's Proctor Ingram. I think we already wiped out Dance earlier. And I'll be honest, it's a somewhat difficult fight. They have a hell of a kill zone set up in there. But I'm luckily in control of a copious amounts of explosives. So I'm able to battle my way through eventually, get to the terminal and gain full control of the rocket, aborting the launch and making sure the oil rig doesn't get touched. Colonel Whitehead tells us that we did a fantastic job and that they are now redirecting that missile straight toward the Pridwin. Teleporting us right over there, we're able to sit here and, well, I was hoping for a good view, but there was goddamn fog on the day, so, well, it's fine. I'm sure there'll be other massive airships I'll get to blow up and watch.
Dreams are so erotic. Yeah.
And with the Brotherhood taken out, the Institute actually come to the negotiation table. Well, I say the Institute, one rogue doctor. Dr. Armstrong proposes that if we wipe out all the directors, he will give over the Institute to the Enclave. And to me, I usually would pick no, because he can't be trusted, but for this one, I'm a doctor and he is offering us one of the most high-tech scientific facilities possible. So, we decide to take him at his word and assist him at wiping out all the heads of the Institute. This is again another brand new character for the mod. He hands over a synth disguise to us and grabs our hand, holds it tightly and gets us ready to be teleported in so we can plant a couple of, I think it's electronic pulse charges that don't destroy anything but is able to wipe out certain people that are close by to it. We've got to plant about 5 and we get these little distraction mines, which are pretty cool. Once you plant one, all the people in the vicinity head over and try and look at it, giving us a nice simple way to plant the false charges. Really neat. I mean, they really put a lot of effort into this mod, a lot of new things. I'm a very big fan of it all. With these synths distracted, I plant my second charge, head over to the SRB, wait for everyone to wake up, pull up their weapon just to go stare at a little metal disc on the floor. Again, they should really have security cameras monitoring this, and plant my third charge. I then don't have to use one of the distraction methods, I'm able to just plant it pretty easily in advanced systems. And fifth and finally, I plant mine in biolabs. With that, not a single shot has been had, not a single body has fallen, and I can return to the relay and leave the rest to Dr. Armstrong. God, I hope we don't get betrayed. Surprise, surprise, our next quest is talk to Whithill. And with that, she lets us know that we just gotta wait a little bit of time, and we'll FR parked. Normally your Pip-Boy starts allowing you to teleport back to the Institute. And with that, we get the final quest, Dawn's Early Light. We teleport ourselves straight over there. Again, talk to Colonel Whithill. And we very quickly start noticing that there's lots of Enclave soldiers stationed at different areas. He was right, Dr. Armstrong was very truthful. We have now gained full control over the Institute. And with that, the only thing that's left to do is to go and listen to Whitehill's speech. So let's take it from where we started. We had 4 people frozen in tubes. From there, we have an operational oil rig, a bunch of different bases in the Commonwealth, and the Institute under our control. Now I'm not sure, but I'm pretty confident that's a pretty damn good job from Dr. Edward Richtofen. Finishing Edward Richtofen's story in the Commonwealth, rebuilding the Enclave, and setting them up for a beautiful future. There's only one thing left to do. Get my sweet cheeks straight over to another zombie arena. Yes, later on as I perused the random mods that I found another zombie one. This one allowing you to add in raiders and gunners and all that different stuff as well. But mainly that you can have another zombie playthrough. It has different maps, but you do get to use your own weapons, which the reason I didn't show this off at the start of the video was because, you know, it wasn't quite to the original. This is just a little bit of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Believe me, I have. Let me know if you like this style. Do you want it to be more framed, like can you beat the game as this character, or do you like this different kind of version here? I know that overall the kind of video, the meat and potatoes of it is somewhat similar. I know the intro's a little bit different, and I think the approach to the commentary is a little bit different. But please let me know in the comments down below, do you like this style? And is it something you want to see more of? The next video will be in this style. It's going to be a Fallout London video, which I've been waiting to redo for a very long time. And I'll be very excited to bring you that as well. I think with that, there's nothing else left to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.